All right, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the City of Hoyt Lakes and SEH, I'd like to welcome everybody to the grand opening of the Emergency Services Building. My name is Matt Reed. I'm a project manager and the office manager here in the Virginia office for SEH. We have a number of things going on. I will talk about some of those later on, but before we get into any of that, we have a few speakers that would like to share some of their thoughts about the whole building process and the project itself, as well as hopefully some good things to say about the end result. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker. He's your mayor, Mayor Mark Skelton.
Thank you, and welcome to Hoyt Lakes, to your new Emergency Services Center. Every project like this starts with a vision, and this vision started probably in about 2001. There was a funeral home built on this corner to service the community, and unfortunately for that business, it did not go very well, and they closed the doors within 5 or 6 years of building this facility. And it was a $900,000 building at that time, the construction of that building. So the vision moves forward then to approximately 2 years ago, and it moves to a place of one of our police officers. It was Chief Suler. Now anybody that knows Chief Suler knows that you got to keep him busy or them wheels are spinning all the time. Okay, well he had a slow night shift. And he stopped by my house one day a few years ago, and he said, "Skelly, what do you think about that funeral home? That would make a good fire department, police department, don't you think?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. A couple things. It depends on how much the city could purchase it for, and then it would depend on engineering firm and architectural firm to see if we could add on to it. But I guess the location's great and the building is good, so it might be able to work. It depends on the price." I think at that time he already knew what the price was that they could get it for. So what he did though is, I don't know if it was you, Marlene, that he was able to convince, or it was Marlene was our mayor at the time, or if it was one of the council people, but he convinced them to buy this spot in this building for $140,000. Am I right? Okay. So he didn't have the price down to that point yet. So $146,000 for a $900,000 building. That's a pretty good price tag. So we moved forward, and as time went on, Marlene and the previous council lobbied Commissioner Surdich and his people to see if they would be willing to help finance part of this building. Now, I've had the opportunity for the last year and a half to work with IRRB, and part of their vision is to make sure it's collaboration, cooperation, communities that work together. That's where the funding, you have a better chance of getting funding. When you take your tour this evening and you see the 3 ambulances sitting next door here, they say Hoyt Lakes Fire Department on it, but if you look on it, it also says White Township, serving White Township and the city of Aurora. Those ambulances are probably the best joint powers agreement the East Range has ever seen. It has been successful for over 40 years now. And it's a collaboration, a cooperation that these 3 communities have been doing since probably the early 70s. So that's one of the reasons that IRRB stepped up and said, "I think this is a good project," and they will put $340,000 towards this project because it's a collaborative project. So we move forward from there. I think SEH was brought on board for the engineering and architecture. A committee was formed, and then election came, and a new council and a new mayor come in, and the first thing facing us in that January is, what do we do from here? Do we move forward with this, or do we say no? Now, those of you that know me know that I spent 20 plus years on the fire and ambulance on the corner down here. I spent 20 plus years on the police department over there. It was a great building for the years that we had it. You can look at the size of our apparatus now. You can see that we're up to 600 ambulance runs a year. We needed more space for our ambulances. We put another ambulance on. And so our city council decided that we would follow in the footsteps of the prior city council and move forward with this project. Financing was definitely one of the things that I was concerned about with, and the whole council. So what we did is the committee we had a committee of SEH with SEH staff, police officers, firefighters, ambulance people, city council people. If those people can make a decision, I have to tell you, we're going to be successful. And they did make some good decisions. We moved forward. So one of the first things we did, we sat down and we met with our partners of the city of Aurora and Hoyt Township. And we looked at that ambulance fund and said, what can we do? How much? I think there was some concern on how much we were going to take out of that fund to put towards this project. We decided that the fund could withstand a $400,000 hit to build the Sally Ports and the office space. So that's the money we added to the IRRB money. That's great, we're gaining ground, but we're still $1 million short, or $1.3 million short. So this committee started doing their work and cutting corners and working together. And we said, where are we going to get the rest of this money? Bill Fahey, are you in here? There, Bill's in the back there with Northern Securities. Bill has been part of the community for many years, across the range. You may have seen him. And he came up and he had to put on I guess I'll call it bonding 101, because I was a poor lowly cop in my life, and math was not my best subject. But the fact of the matter is, he did a really good job. And he walked us through the process. And we wanted to make sure the council had the same opportunity. So we had numerous meetings with the council, with Becky, our clerk. We went through many meetings to get the funding sources down. And one of the things we did after arm wrestling, what were we arm wrestling with, Bill? To get our bonding. Standard & Poor, that's what I'm looking for, yes. We were able to get on a conference call, Becky and I and Bill, and arm wrestle with Standard & Poor, and because of Bill's hard work and because of previous administrations, we were able to get a very high bond rating, which made the interest rate come down, so we were able to be successful in building this building. And so we moved forward, and that's what brought us to where we're at today. When you talk about collaboration, cooperation, working together, I guess this whole process is what that is. And I wrote this stuff down because I want to make sure I thank everybody that was part of this building. And starting with SEH, Matt and Brian, I have to tell you, thank you, you did a great job. Brian, you got to be tired of going to council meetings? Or Matt. Brian, however, he got even with me because as you can see, the coffee shop is right over here and the building is right here. And as they built it, I think architects like to make challenges in life, and as they built the roofing line together here, a lot of people said, well, how do they think that's ever going to hold up the snow load, you know? And the fact of the matter is, I did see the steel beams going in there, but Brian thought it was pretty funny that the mayor was getting some phone calls, so he's got to sing a song for me before the day's out. So, TLC Construction, they did a great job. I've had the opportunity to give them some positive references because of the work that they did. Commissioner Surdich and your staff, thank you. Unfortunately or fortunately for you, we're working closer than we ever have with the city of Aurora, Hoyt Township, the city of Bowavic, cooperatively, so you're going to see us again. Kurt Antela. Kurt is working very hard for the city's East Range Joint Powers, and at the beginning of this, helping with all of the paperwork and so forth. But thank you, Kurt. City of Aurora and Town of Hoyt, great partners. I hope we can continue into the future. I do firmly believe the more we work together, the better off we are going to be. I share the same vision as IRRB. I think it's much better to do it together than to do it alone. Bill Fahey, Northern Securities, thank you for the hard work that you put in. Thank you for the 101 lessons. I'm a better mathematician today than I was before we started. Fire and police departments. I have to tell you, from a council and a mayor's perspective, it was flawless. Your move in here, the work that you did, you may not think so, but you did an excellent job. Thank you for doing the job of the building, of moving into the building, and the job that you do for our citizens every single day. And Floyd Nelson, Public Works Director. I have to tell you, I had a lot of advice from people, and they said you have to put somebody in charge of that building or you're never going to come in at budget. And Floyd was a guy. When you put a bunch of cops together and you put a bunch of police officers together and mayors and councilors, we've got to find a way. And I'm sure that he was inundated with changes, but he never made the changes unless he brought it back to the council. And because of that, we came in at budget. Becky Birch, our city clerk, and our staff, countless hours of work on this building. All of the city staff actually that had to go above and beyond in extra duties. So again, the previous mayor, Marlene Posbeck, the city council for letting Chief Suler convince everybody that this would probably be a good buy. If we wouldn't have purchased this, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did. So thank you. Our current council. I don't believe that anybody really realizes how much work a city council does in one of these small towns. They put in countless hours away from their families. And in our one-on-one classes, they spend a lot of hours away from their families. There's a lot of work to do what was done, and I want to thank them for their hard work. And last but not least, I want to thank the community. I have to tell you that the community has been supportive, not negative, and I really, I hope that we built something that everybody in this community can be proud of. As the mayor of Hoyt Lakes, and more importantly as a citizen of the range, I believe we're about to turn the economic corner with the new business ventures that are about to begin. I feel that this project is one small step in building into the future. So thanks everybody for coming tonight. And before I leave, so the priests don't send me to hell, okay? He made sure that he wanted me to mention to everybody, Northern Lights Music Festival is in our community right now. And at our church up here, when this is over at 7 o'clock, there is a free concert at the Catholic Church. It's the next church up. And everybody that's here is welcome to go to that free concert. That should get me a few out of jail free cards. Okay, but thank you. Our next speaker today, I'm proud to introduce Commissioner Surdich. It's been a thrill for me for the last year and a half to work with IRRB. Your staff is second to none. They're professional. It's been great working with them. And I'd like to introduce to you Commissioner Surdich, and thank you for coming over this evening.
Well, good evening, everybody. I may have to swing by the church too and get a few get out of jail free cards, and maybe talk to these guys about a few real get out of jail free cards who are sitting behind me. We'll see. Don't be afraid. I'm a former politician, so I don't talk that long anymore. I'm honored to be here among you all today for this. You know, you get questions all the time at the IRRB about what the heck do you guys spend all your money on? And so this is a day where I can show up and say this is exactly what we invest in. The IRRB invests in businesses, community, and workforce for the Iron Range. And for a little while here in the past couple of months, a lot of our investments have been coming over to the east end of the range, whether you're talking about our business opportunities with Sagettis and then these great collaborations. And that's really important here. Communities coming together to invest in our communities for our quality of life. Even when we're talking to businesses who want to come to our region, they want to check out our schools. They want to make sure that our emergency services are up to par so that their workforce is protected. And so this is a great collaborative effort of that, 30 or 40, almost 40-year joint powers agreement really now under one roof. And I know this firsthand. In my other life, my family has owned an ambulance service in Chisholm for 30 years. And it's something that I think as a community we can sometimes take for granted unless we need them, unless there's a fire, unless there's an accident, unless one of our loved ones are in harm's way. And then folks risk their lives to make our community safe and to keep us protected. And so this is a great effort of your community coming together, putting your dollars on the line to protect your friends and neighbors and increase your quality of life. And I just want to end by congratulating the community and your partners, your mayor, your city council, past and present. But I definitely want to commend at the end here and give great thanks to those folks that work in emergency services, police, fire, and ambulance, who, as I said, when that phone rings, when somebody calls 911, when their pagers go off and they come and they risk their life and limb for the rest of us in our communities, they deserve the utmost respect and thanks. And this building and this joint effort is certainly a thanks to them, but thank you all for the service you give to your communities. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Surdich. And now he was mentioning the emergency service people, and we have Acting Police Chief Tim Suler and Fire Chief Tony House that would like to say a few words.
I don't know if I can talk as much as those guys, but so on behalf of the Fire and Ambulance Department, I'd like to thank the IRRB, the City Council, our former Mayor Marlene Posbeck, our current Mayor Mark Skelton, and all of the retirees from the Fire Department who had the foresight for the future of the department moving forward. The new building offers us a great advantage of increased space for conducting training exercises for our personnel. The extra space also allows us to access boats, trailers, four-wheelers, snowmobiles without having to remove a fire truck to do so. This past year, our department had 584 ambulance calls and 28 fire calls. We'd like to thank our families' patience and understanding so we can continue to provide these services moving forward. So again, on behalf of the 22 members of the Fire and Ambulance Department, we thank you.
I, unlike Tony, didn't prepare a speech, but I'm pretty good at talking. So we'll start off with what really happened down there is when you have to wear your rain jacket inside the police department when you're typing a police report. I don't know if we can call that efficiency. And that's kind of what was happening down there. And we knew when Frontier came in to drill the 28th hole for the new network that was coming in, and we couldn't provide the means to comply with the county, that we needed to really take a look at things. So at the time, Marlene and I had some good positive discussions on where we wanted to head with it. And public safety, I feel in small towns or any size towns has to be priority. And I think the city and the council showed us that we are. So, you know, they're giving us every tool at the police department to succeed. I think we can hopefully apply that to our citizens, and you guys can take a look back and say, hey, we're just not sitting at the holiday eating donuts. But Kyle is gained 10 pounds since he's been on here. So I'm not sure where he's at. But in all seriousness, I think the building speaks for itself. Today we open up our squad car so you can take a look and see what's going on, because I know you see us sitting a lot, but you know, everything is about technology, and we were so far behind, there was no way we could gradually keep up. We either had to make a big move and a jump and get ahead of the game, or we were going to be so far behind we didn't know what was going to happen. So I think as you walk around in the police department side, there's nothing there that you can't open up and look at. Everything's put away that would be a danger, so please feel free. It's just as much you, the citizens, police, and public safety building as it is ours. So with that, I'd like to, you know, we did go through a transition period. Chief Stokes left with 34 years of service in March. Everybody had a chance to speak to Mark Whippler. He is, you'll see him one more time in uniform directing traffic at our water carnival function up by the arena, because I think he's the only guy that can probably handle all that, where we turn the one-way into a two-way. So, and Mark's on his way out. That's 64 years. So we know moving forward that there were going to be some growing pains, and we ask you to reach out to our new officers, let them get to know you, and give them, maybe have a little bit more patience, and they're going to do the same. So at this time, I'd like to introduce to you our new officers. Kyle Shiverini has been living in town for about a year. He just made his probationary period, which means in the law enforcement world, we're going to keep him. So if you haven't seen him, that's Kyle Shiverini. And then we just went through 3 weeks of intense interviews and different panels, and we feel we we got the two best candidates that were there. There was 39 applicants. A lot of them had been working full-time in law enforcement for a number of years. We were fortunate enough, we feel, and if you see the female, that's Heather Shendell. She has 4 shifts left for St. Louis County, stationed out of Aurora, and she'll be coming over wearing the blue for Hoyt Lakes. She currently resides in Hoyt Lakes, so we're excited about her. The last guy, you know, he actually reminds me of what I looked like when I started 24 years ago. But Miles spent a year on a federal contract in Glasgow, and he served that community, which was a smaller 4,000 or 5,000 population community. He's originally from Two Harbors. He will be starting next week. You'll see Miles riding around a lot with Kyle for 3 or 4 weeks before he gets educated at our local water carnival, and then he'll be on his own. So I think that's a good time. Once again, thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for all you do for the City of Hoyt Lakes. The next person I'd like to introduce, last but not least, Mr. Sam Clausen. Sam is the CEO and President of SEH, and he would like to share a few thoughts as well.
Well, the main thing I want to say is thank you. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, citizens of Hoyt Lakes. Thanks for placing your trust in us to work on this project and other projects that we've done for the city over the years. We've been working with you for many years, and we hope to continue working for you for many more years. I'd like to recognize Brian Bergstrom. Brian, can you raise your hand? So Brian was the project architect for this building. And Brian, I think you did a great job. I walked around the building, I talked to both chiefs and the mayor, and they all said that it's working out very well for the city. They started using it in January, and we had a harsh winter, but the building came through the winter well, and they're both, or all of them, were very appreciative of the nice building. It's a very nice space, something you all can be proud of. So again, thank you for placing your trust in us. We hope to continue working with you for many more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That wraps up the formal, if you want to call it that, portion of our gathering here. I mentioned earlier, there are a number of events going on, and I'm just going to talk about those briefly. The Aurora Food Shelf is here, and they have a table in the back. If anybody has any donations they would be willing to share, that's back there. There's a blood pressure checks going on in that corner. There are also tours going on throughout the building. Definitely go tour it. It's a nice facility. And then we are going to also hold, well, there's refreshments too, I guess the important thing. There's food, and there's water and lemonade. We are going to have an official ribbon cutting ceremony out back. I think the ambulances are still there. The ribbon was tied to the bumpers, so I hope they're still there. So I'd like to invite the City of Hoyt Lakes council staff, past staff, whoever would like to join us. SEH employees that are here, please join us outside. IRRB staff, Commissioner Surdich, and anybody else that would like to participate in the ribbon cutting ceremony. We'll be right out back here in just a couple of minutes. And I would also like to echo what Sam said and thank the City of Hoyt Lakes for the opportunity to work with you. The council meetings, Mark, they're not that painful. So, I've really thoroughly enjoyed working with the city and the staff and the council. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and look forward to continuing to work with you. With that, I think I'd just like to offer congratulations to the city. Very successful project, and again, we had a lot of fun doing it. So congratulations, City of Hoyt Lakes.
Come on, Ambulance Director. Mine outside heavy. We got it?
We ready? We ready?
Who's in charge here? On.
Oh, I wanted to do that.
Good job. Good job.